my favorite character in Forsaken, as this is a really poorly made guide I have made for him. In this video I will be showing some nice tips and tricks I have learned after 107 levels of playing Taph. This is the first ever guide I am making, so it can and will be bad, but I'll try my best because I really love this character. So I recommend this guide if you're a new player trying to learn Taph, or you just got in the game and you want to learn Taph but you don't know how to use him and how to utilize his abilities to the maximum possible. Or you just straight up don't know how to play Taph because you never played him before. So in this video I will be trying my best to make you as good as Taph as I'm just trying to make you better at Taph. Let's go over his abilities first. First up we have Tripwire. Taph will begin creating his Tripwire. Upon using this ability, Taph will kneel down in place, a little stick into the ground, and get locked in place for about half a second. After that you will be free to move but be slowed. Pressing the ability again will make Taph place another stick, and there will be a little string between the first stick and the last stick. If the killer goes through this string, the Taph will get slowness 2 for 4 seconds. The Tripwire can be broken in one hit. Literally, if anything hits it, even a slight breeze, it will break and be useless. So if you're feeling like, oh, I wasted time making this, it's gonna be useless, it still tanked a hit, so it's gonna be useless whatever or not, unless you place a really weird Tripwire and the killer just go all around it. You can only have three Tripwires down at a time. Placing a fourth one will break the oldest one. Next up, his main ability that makes him popular and a good choice, Subspace Trip Mine. Taph will begin arming up his Subspace Trip Mine. That process takes around 3 seconds. After that he will throw it. If it hits a wall, it will bounce off of it. After being thrown, it won't do anything for around 1 or 2 seconds. After those seconds, if the killer comes near it, it will blow up and give the killer Subspace 3 and Helpless. Helpless makes it so you can't use any abilities, and Subspace messes with their camera and makes it purple. While the Subspace is detonating, if the killer hits it, the killer will only get Subspace 2 and no Helpless. If the Subspace blows up and you are in its range, you're gonna get Subspace 3 and Helpless 2. It doesn't matter if the killer hit it or not. Also, a thing I forgot to mention is that the Helpless and Subspace effect lasts for 6 seconds for both Taph and the killer. It also only affects the Taph that thrown the Subspace and no other survivors, not even other Taphs. So now we go on to the tips. So whatever you do not place your Subspaces out in the open, because that's gonna be super obvious and the killer will easily hit it and make it useless. Place it like next to a wall, like around the corner where I just did there. The subspace actually blows up and affects killers and Taph through walls, so be sure to use that. Also, the Subspace also gives Helpless in Subspace. If the Subspace will also blow up if the killer is under or above the Subspace that has a range. And also, you can put Subspaces into killer doors, which makes them a lot unexpected and a lot more of a pain in the ass to deal with. So make sure to hide your Subspaces and make them unexpected for the best value from them. Now on to some Tripwire trips. See this Tripwire that I'm standing next to right here? This thingy texture on the floor actually makes it hard to see, such as more floor effects and textures make Tripwires hard to see. But if you see a white floor, that makes the Tripwires almost invisible and you need to abuse that. it's almost always going to be a guarantee slow because the killer won't even see it, so he won't be able to like destroy it, so it will be useless. Also, another tip for the subspaces is you can use items, and you can use items while the subspace is doing its work against the killer. Most of the time, you can in LMS you can just run to a subspace or just place one and start drinking a black sea. Even if the killer finds you, he won't be able to cancel it because well, helpless. So there's a really good tip to use in LMS, a really good strategy. You can also do this with medkits, but it's a lot more harder, and I only pulled it off once. Also, if you are left for LMS, you should almost never use your tripwires because making them will slow you down. So when you're like getting the killer off your back for a second in LMS, you should just pop a subspace and run, because when you're doing the tripwire, the killer might as well just find you and might as well just flip you into 6 different pieces because you're slow. And he's gonna get at least he's gonna get some free hits off of you. Also, you might have noticed that this is not a public server anymore. That's because I wanted to show some I wanted to go into 3 or 4 maps and show all the trap spots I could find. This is the only reason the guide is more than 30 minutes long. I'm going to speed it up so you won't be bored out of your mind. But yeah, pay attention to these trap thingies. They are gonna be super useful. I'm only doing this because I actually enjoy it, and I want you to get a good idea of where to place traps and where they are good to place too. Also, I'm gonna show 2 tier lists of both survivors and killers. For survivors, it's how well they are good with Taph, and for the killers, it's how good Taph is against the killers. So I'm just gonna show how good survivors pair with Taph first. First up, I'm gonna do the survivors. First off, we got Noob. I'm gonna put him in mid because he can safely pop a block C if the killer has helpless. Shadetsky, he can easily pop a chicken while the killer has helpless. Elliot, he doesn't really have any abilities to use when the killer is helpless, so mid, normal value. Betterman is really good with Taph because you can create a lot of more consistent nests. You can place subspaces on sentries / dispensers. 007, you can safely use cool GUI. 2-time, yeah, mid value. Guest is pretty bad because he can't get a block. 2 taps, hell for the killer. Dusakor, yeah, he can just get a free zap off. That's not gonna make much of an excuse. Veronica, he can maybe use case safely or maybe just maybe make a spray. Chance, normal value. And Jane, good because free crystal pitch and mostly a free stun. So now I'm gonna do the killers, how good Taph is against killers. I'm almost say some killers, not all of them. First up, Slasher, he has piercing attacks that can be really bad for Taph. Cool Kid can be good because he stops after hitting something with Vox Speed Override and no piercing attacks. John Doe, I'm not really sure, I'll do him later. Noli, great, you can just lead him to a subspace while he's void rushing. And Nova is also really easy to dodge. No piercing attacks. So Sixer, piercing attacks, but he's really big, so he won't really see the traps because of his fat ass. Nosferatu, I'm not really sure. Yeah, I guess you can make him dive into your traps. 1x, bad. he can destroy all your traps. Also John Doe with his corrupt energy. Preview connects, not really much of a difference, but like he is a little bit easier to deal with. Now on to the tricky tricks. Taph is a support, and most likely at the beginning of the round you are gonna get targeted if you don't hide. So what I suggest at the start of the round is just make some traps immediately, because without them you are nothing, and remember you can't use them mid-chase because you're just gonna die. So when you spawn, do some traps and then try going to like a good trap spot. When you are getting trapped by John Doe, like you know you are gonna get trapped and you can't escape anytime, and the only way out if he traps you and makes the wall is going past him. Quickly try putting down a subspace. This way John will get helpless and you will be allowed to safely get out of the trap. Basically a get out of jail free card most of the time. You can also place your subspace into like slowness areas. This way, the only way the killer will like deal with the subspace without getting like actually subspaced is if they run and then run away, deactivating it. But that wastes around 15 stamina. So doing this will always be a win for you and a loss for the killer. Because 15 stamina doesn't seem that much, but in a like LMS chase, that can like do a lot. I mean, it's like an advantage. Do it if you can. If there is a better man on your team, always try to follow them and wait until they put down a sentry so you can put a subspace on top of it. If the subspace activates while the killer is trying to destroy the sentry, it will take the killer at least 7 or 8 seconds to destroy the sentry. Depending, I don't know, at least 6 seconds to destroy it. When there is a second Taph though, you should like try to space out you guys' subspace trip mines, because getting subspaced while you're already subspaced won't make the effect last longer and will not reset the 6 seconds. So like you can place your tripwires together. Yeah, it's the same for tripwires. So yeah, try to like place out, make place between 2 subspaces. Also, if you know you're getting left for last, like the killer is like, nah, I'm gonna go for this other guy and I'm gonna leave you for last, Taph, stay right here. Try emergency, try making 3 tripwires, place them out like 4 on the map. This way when the LMS starts, it's literally just a tour going between the tripwires and it will basically be a free win. As the icing on the cake, you can like put a subspace on one of them to make the killer extra angry. Also this for every survivor. Really, you should try getting a black cola for the start of the LMS. I mean, it's not impossible if you don't have a black sea, but with a black sea you can increase your chances by a lot, and this is a very obvious thing. I don't know why I'm saying it. Just like how detailed the textured floors and white surfaces make it hard to see tripwires, the same goes for shadows. Also, I didn't mention this earlier, always try to hide the toothpicks of the tripwire, because if the killer looks there, it's gonna be really obvious, so always try to hide them. That's a rule. You can, if you break, the tripwire is gonna be useless. Oh, and also I'm just gonna like explain his lore for a little bit. Like, he has some really like a little bit funny and a little bit sad lore. So he thought he's Bitterman's right hand, and after Dusakor, Shedetsky, and Bitterman got forsaken, he tried blowing up all unmoderated experiences, thinking that would help. But of course, people were inside them, and he didn't know that he was killing them. So he didn't know that, and I thought he was being jolly, and he didn't know that he's actually killing innocent people by blowing up unmoderated experiences. So after the public backlash, people were hunting for him. They hated him. They wanted him dead. So he locks himself in his house, set up traps everywhere, and basically starved to death in his house. In his milestone 1 render, he is blowing up an experience, I think. And milestone's 1 description is so many unmoderated experiences I can help. In milestone 2, he's still blowing up experiences, not knowing that people are already like hating on him, wanting him dead. In milestone 3, he realizes this and is basically hiding from people. In milestone 4, his description is I didn't mean to kill them, basically showing that telling us that he didn't want to kill anyone. It was an accident. He didn't know that he's actually killing people with blowing up unmoderated experiences. So yeah, pretty like sad lore if you ask me. So that is the Taph guide I made and his lore. So Taph is definitely not the best support and definitely not the worst. Every support is good in their own way, and Taph's way is obviously like helping the team, but I can't come up with that. I mean, like a staller, yeah, staller, if he's not being chased. So yeah, that was the guide. Thank you for watching. If you even watched, maybe you skip to the end, and I'll see you in the next one, I guess.